You can't imagine the happiness that rich people bring me. After my ex-girlfriend cheated on me, she shamelessly sent me text messages threatening me. I was so angry that I was shaking all over. Didn't she tell me that rich people are not good people? So I'm a delivery boy and I'm working 3 jobs to support a gold digger? Coincidentally, the thing I have the most is money. I immediately took out my cell phone and called my dad. Dad, I'm ready to go home and inherit the family business. The fun starts right away. If you like it, remember to click to subscribe. I just came back from the construction site and was covered in sweat. I was afraid of stinking my girlfriend, so I took a shower before going to see her. Who knew that as soon as I reached the door, I heard a mixed noise from inside. My intuition told me that I must be overthinking it. I work 3 jobs a day just to pay the mortgage. This is Sophia and I's wedding house. How could she bring another man in? I took out the key and unlocked the door with a smile, but the next second I was shocked by the obscene scene in front of me. My girlfriend, who is usually well-behaved, is actually lying on another man. After the 2 men noticed me, they were not panicked at all. Sophia picked up her clothes and put them on, then poured herself a glass of water. Michael, since you saw it, I don't want to lie to you. So what you're saying is that if I hadn't seen it today, you would still be lying to me? I gritted my teeth and the blood in my body seemed to freeze. Sophia took a sip of the water and handed it back to the man leaning on the sofa. Feed them drink thoughtfully. Those plump breasts are about to touch the man's face. Snap. A bitch deserves a dog. I went up and pulled Sophia away, then beat the man up. Michael's family rules prohibit hitting women. But I will show no mercy to the man who cheats on me. Michael. Are you crazy? Do you know who he is? He is the famous Mr. David on Wall Street. Sophia tried to hold me back. My punches were heavier than the last and I usually did a lot of physical work, so in less than a minute the man's face was bruised and swollen. He used to look like a playboy, but now he looks like a loser. He uttered incoherently, I'm going to kill you. As soon as he finished speaking, I kicked him in the ribs. With a click. I put my feet away with satisfaction. Michael, you are really looking for death. If you want to die, can you please stop holding me back? Sophia glared at me with disgust, and she supported the adulterer in fear. Master David, we'll take you to the hospital right away. Sophia started crying and was about to make a phone call while picking up her bag. When did she ever care about me so much? 2 years ago, when the family was planning a marriage, I disagreed no matter what. Even if I had to give up my status as a crown prince and be banned by my father to the point where I could only deliver takeouts and work at construction sites, I still wanted to give her a future. Sophia is the gentlest and most innocent girl I have ever met. She had just graduated from college at that time, and smiled shyly, Brother Michael, I don't have any requirements. As long as you have a house and a car, we can get married. How much is a house in downtown worth? $2 million US. Now that I have paid the down payment, I can buy the car in 2 months. I was about to win the beauty and fulfill the bet with my father, but now I'm hit by a blow. Sophia, if you were forced, I can forgive you. I was holding back my anger, but before I could finish my words, I was interrupted by the woman. Michael, are you sick? He's a CEO worth tens of millions. Just being his girlfriend would give you more than you've ever earned in your entire life. Why would I be forced? I wanted to marry you, but I wanted to wait until I had money, but you ruined everything. Sophia glared at me resentfully and walked away without looking back. The room was still filled with the smell of blood. It seems like everyone is laughing at me, I'm just a clown. In an hour, I had smashed the house to pieces. Called Dad. Dad, this time I'm ready to come back and inherit the family business. What is a business marriage? Compared to the hardships I've endured in the past 2 years, going home is like being an emperor. What's the point of finding a woman you love? You'll end up being cuckolded right under your nose. In the morning, I was wearing a $20 t-shirt, and in the evening, I stepped out of my global limited edition luxury car wearing a $1 million suit. Even the road was paved with a red carpet. My dad smiled and raised his glass of champagne. At that moment he was a winner. That's right, he won the 2-year bet. Joker, welcome home. The $1,000 cell phone in my pocket rang, and I took it out and looked at it. It's Sophia. You can't imagine the happiness that rich people bring me. I was so angry that I threw the broken phone and my former stubbornness into the swimming pool. Welcome home, master. Welcome home, master. When they heard that I was back, all my old friends came to visit. They suggested giving me a party. I agree. It turned out to be a pool party with all kinds of beauties, big and small. Wait, Sophia? I pointed at the woman in a bikini in the corner and asked, who brought her? Good brother, Christopher sneered. Well, brother, you have good taste. I have never seen such a thing, a natural face, not bad, not bad. I just asked around, and it seems like she's David's girlfriend. My mind instantly recalled the image of Sophia calling David master. I tilted my head back and drank the wine in the glass in one gulp. Who is David? There are countless people on Wall Street who are worth tens of millions. If you want to play with Michael's family, don't come out and embarrass yourself if you don't have hundreds of millions. However, when my brothers go out to play, they don't mind bringing the girls along. After all, they are naturally happy to see new women. Normally, I just do things perfunctorily in such situations. I wanted to leave in less than 2 hours. But now, looking at Sophia twisting her hips and almost sticking to a short man who was about 1.6 meters tall, I couldn't be greener. She said she was conservative, so it turned out she was targeting me. Christopher, am I something ugly? I feel depressed. Christopher looked me over carefully and clicked his tongue twice. Brother Michael, don't tell me you're emotionally hurt. If you weren't so wealthy, you'd be more than qualified to be a male model. Model. I kicked the guy into the swimming pool, everyone burst into laughter, and then we started having fun. Sophia came to my side at the corner without me noticing. She smiled brightly, without any sign of shame. Michael, how do you have the money to buy a house? So you're also working as a male model here part-time? How much a night, 2,000 or 3,000? Sophia raised her hand and wanted to touch my abdominal muscles. I immediately pushed her away and said, why, come together? She didn't get angry. She hooked my shorts and was about to take me a few steps away. The brothers in the swimming pool thought that a beautiful girl had spotted me, and they all urged me to come over quickly. Being looked up and down by Sophia's sharp eyes, I always feel dirty. If you have something to say, just say it. Sophia covered her mouth and laughed, he he he. I knew you had a good figure, but I didn't expect you could serve several young men in one night. I have a job here. You just need to go apologize to Master David and he will give you 500,000. This is more money than you can make working for him for half a year. Sophia looked at me proudly. I can't connect the person in front of me with the innocent way she leaned on my shoulder 2 years ago. No one can escape from the big melting pot of society. Sophia, if he has tens of millions, I will give you a few million. If I have 2 million, I will give you 2 million. Don't you know how to do the math? Who loves you the most? My heart ached. Sophia smiled charmingly, of course I know how to choose. Between several million and 2 million, of course I'll choose the one with 5 or 6 million. Michael, did your math and PE teacher teach you this? I pursed my lips, unable to utter a word. Yes. Since I have already admitted defeat and returned to Michael's family, there is no possibility between her and me anymore. Suddenly, Sophia seemed to think of something and she sighed. That house must have been smashed by Master David. He promised to compensate me. The house is in my name, but I won't give you the money. When you apologize to Master David tomorrow, he will give you money. Otherwise, Master David will definitely make you pay for it. Before I could say anything, Christopher came over. Who is going to get into trouble? Tell me? Christopher took the towel from the waiter and wiped himself, then took a sip of wine. Sophia's eyes were wide open, and she wanted to stick to Christopher. The green light above my head reached its peak at this moment. What is this young master's name? Sophia asked delicately. Christopher, the idiot, scratched his head and laughed. Me? Michael. It's incredible that someone can see me in front of you, girl, you have a keen eye. Just call me Master Christopher. Christopher's pussy was satisfied instantly. Sophia laughed. Master Christopher, you are joking. You are a person of such wealth. No matter how handsome a male model is, he can't compare to you, right? Let's add each other's contact information, see you next time? Sophia pulled her cell phone out from her chest, which stunned Christopher. He said he had learned a lot and gave me his contact information. Don't you want me to apologize to Master David? Tomorrow, here too. I suddenly spoke. Before Christopher's jaw could drop to the floor, I sent Sophia away. Really? Michael? That woman asked you to apologize to someone else? What are you doing? Talk to the brothers, we will definitely help you if we can. Christopher called over several other people. The expressions of several people were so solemn that it made my face burn. Finally, she gritted her teeth and said, let me apologize to the adulterer. Everyone gasped and no one spoke for a long time. They all looked at me with sympathy and heartache. Crack, all of you, get out of here. I kicked them one by one and sent them down again. What's wrong with being cheated on? If you want to live a decent life, you must wear something green on your head. After a night of indulgence, it was already evening the next day when I woke up. Some of my brothers were more active than me and even developed a plan. After I nodded, it was settled. At the same 8 o'clock, Sophia came in with David, who was in a plaster cast. I seldom appear in public, so it's normal that he doesn't recognize me. What's more, I usually run fast during gatherings. But David knew Christopher. Seeing Christopher was like seeing my grandfather. President Christopher, what a coincidence, meeting you here. David held out his uninjured hand and tried to shake Christopher's hand. I coughed and Christopher quickly smiled. Unfortunately, I'm the one hosting this party. David's smile froze. Ahaha, it turns out to be President Christopher. Who in the industry has such good taste? President Christopher, I didn't expect that we would meet again so soon. Sophia blinked at Christopher. David is a smart guy, how could he not understand what Sophia meant? Regardless of the fact that there were many people here, he pinched her butt on the spot. I'm still here. Sophia yelled, smiling awkwardly. She doesn't look well. But she couldn't afford to offend anyone here, so she could only let David do what he wanted. If she made someone unhappy, her wish to curry favor with the powerful would be completely ruined. President David, please take a seat. I heard from Sophia that someone has offended you. Today in my place, I will definitely help you get justice. Come. Christopher wanted to invite David to sit in the main seat, but I was sitting there. David's face immediately turned dark. How dare you show up in front of me? Master David, Michael came here to kowtow to you and admit his mistakes. Have you forgotten? Sophia reminded appropriately. David realized it belatedly and said okay, you do it. David waved at me. I pointed at myself and he nodded. Then I stood up and walked over. You are lucky today, this is President Christopher's plan, I must give President Christopher face. Where? Christopher smiled and played it easy. Others were watching the show while holding back their laughter. David was beaming with pride, he spread his legs and pointed at his crotch. Crawl over here on your knees, and I'll forgive you. I heard from Sophia that you are extremely poor. If you can imitate the barking of a dog a few more times, I might be happy and reward you with hundreds of thousands of dollars. David laughed out loud. But no one dared to laugh with him. After all, there is probably no one on Wall Street who dares to humiliate me, Michael, like this. Michael, please crawl. Sophia smiled with gloating smile. She wanted to transfer the embarrassment to me. But the next second, I kicked David in the vitals and swept him into the swimming pool. The huge splash scared many beauties. Everyone ran away, fearing that innocent people would be harmed. Michael, are you crazy? Sophia yelled, raising her hand to slap me. This time, I couldn't bear it. He even took her into the swimming pool with him. Mixed with the pool water, there was constant shouting and cursing. Michael, you are courting death. If a tiger doesn't show its might, do you think I'm a sick cat? This is President Christopher's place. Unless you grow wings today, you can't escape. I sneered and looked at David, who was barely able to stand in the water. Master David should go back and read more books. With such little knowledge, you dare to act like a rich man? David looked at Christopher, and when he saw that Christopher was indifferent, he immediately became angry. President Christopher, our two companies have cooperated after all, and you were just standing by and watching for a poor boy? Or is he yours? Christopher immediately stopped smiling and said, I don't deserve that. He, Michael, has the Michael family standing behind him. Even if I kill all of you today, I can only bury you for him. How dare I treat him as someone else? Sister, you are so blind. After Christopher finished complaining about David, he looked at Sophia. The teasing in my eyes reached its peak when I met Sophia's panicked eyes. Michael's family, Michael, which Michael's family? David's lips trembled. Who else on Wall Street dares to call themselves the Michael family? Christopher smiled and kindly reminded. That's impossible, President Christopher, you must have been deceived by him. He is just a worker at a construction site. At most, he is a delivery man or a part-time worker. How can he be a young master? Sophia didn't believe it at all. She widened her eyes and wanted to confirm with Christopher. President Christopher, even if you want to protect Michael, there's no point in making such a joke, right? If Michael's family knew about this, it would be bad for you. David forced a few smiles. Today I will return double the humiliation I inflicted on these two people that day. Sophia wanted to go ashore, but my brothers blocked her way and she didn't dare to go over at all. Michael. Sophia felt wronged and was about to cry. At this time I knew I was being called. Master David, you will never give up until you reach the Yellow River. That's how our cooperation ends. President Christopher, if you withdraw from this 10 million project now, you will have to pay 30 million. David has snobbery written all over his face. It seems like he won't lose money no matter what. It's not that the Christopher family is withdrawing, it's that the David family will soon disappear from Wall Street. You are the first one to cheat on me. David, you can go home now and pack your things. I waved. It's just the same as when he asked me to get into his crotch before. David blushed. No. Impossible, Michael's family's young master graduated from a prestigious university, how could he be a delivery man? You are a bastard at best. I picked up the wine glass and smashed it over his head, scattering the pieces. Sophia on the side screamed in fear. David's head was broken and blood dripped down his cheek into the swimming pool. You're the illegitimate child. Sorry, I'm really angry. Christopher touched his hair and sighed, no wonder David's family is doomed when it comes to you. He is forced to deliver food. The only one who can force him to this point is his father. How stupid. Just throw them both out, it's boring. Christopher clapped his hands, and soon several strong bodyguards walked in. Because the people who come here to play are either rich or noble, taking photos is not allowed at all. So everyone could only cover their mouths and secretly watch this scene. Sophia cried heartbreakingly and tried to hug me without being able to see through the bodyguards. This time I dodged faster. Michael, if you are really a rich man, why didn't you tell me? Are you really happy to see me make a fool of myself? You said you loved me the most, but I'm just a toy of yours. You are the eldest master, you are just playing life, but you have completely ruined me. Sophia yelled. She wiped away her tears, not caring that the bikini could barely cover the 3 points on her body. I grabbed a bath towel and threw it on her. That's enough, Sophia. Why didn't you tell me that the condition for being with you was that I had to give up my identity in the Michael family, and I did it? I have never let you suffer, and I give all my salary to you, but you still think I am poor. Did you really love me? A complex array of emotions flashed across my eyes. Sophia was stunned, and when she came to her senses, she nodded frantically. Of course I love you. I can't imagine the happiness that rich people can give you. I repeated the text message she sent me word for word. It was rare to see Sophia blushing with shame. No, Michael, I really love you in my heart. Otherwise, why would I be so determined to plead for you if David wanted to deal with you? If you are just an ordinary person, and David really wants to do something to you, where can you go to seek justice? I was stunned as I listened. My good friend Christopher pulled me aside and said, Brother Michael, don't be fooled. If she didn't go after David, how could you hit her? If you didn't hit her, how could she deal with you? That is, in the final analysis, you are not wrong, right? A woman suddenly interrupted from nowhere. While everyone was wearing swimsuits, she casually walked up to me wearing a coat. Master Michael, we meet again. The woman gave me a quick kiss on the cheek. I was so scared that I stepped back repeatedly. Sophia was even more excited than I was. You are such a slut, get out of here, this is my boyfriend. Sophia screamed. I feel numb. So embarrassing. The woman in front of me is the marriage partner arranged for me by my father. She is also the second daughter of the Ava family, Ava. I resisted the marriage and ran away from home, and she supported me. She said if I ran away from home, she wouldn't have to run away from home. She also made a bet with her parents that if I really married an ordinary person, she would have autonomy in her marriage. But now I lost, and she lost the bet too. Please ask this lady to leave, and don't forget her clothes. Ava took off her coat and put it on Sophia. The inherent sense of oppression made Sophia feel so inferior that she couldn't even raise her head. I wanted to pull her over, but it felt like there were nails under my feet and I couldn't move. Now, she is no longer the girlfriend that I hold dear to my heart. Michael, are you just going to let her bully me? Sophia's eyes turned red from crying. Ava immediately interrupted her. Sister, I didn't humiliate you. A woman's enemy is never a woman. I'm busy enough at work, why should I make things difficult for you? Some things are always in your own hands. If you let go, it means they no longer belong to you. If I were you, I would ask Michael for some money and live my own life. Ava makes a lot of sense. Christopher and the others also nodded in agreement. Sophia clenched her fists and raised her head stubbornly. What happens between Michael and I is not something you can interfere with casually. You want me to take the money and leave him? It's a pity that Michael only has me in his heart. Just give up on this idea. Sophia left angrily. I don't know where she got the courage from. But Christopher and the others felt that it was me who gave them the courage. Really? Joker. Ava looked at me and turned away. This is more powerful than my dad's critical hit. My ears turned red unconsciously. You know, I had promised Ava solemnly that it would be absolutely no problem for her to bet on me winning, and I would definitely be able to win her the right to decide her marriage. But now, I have lost miserably. Even the next day, I followed my dad and carried gifts to visit Ava's family. Ava ignored me as if I were air. Dad glared at me and I quickly peeled an orange and handed it to her. Is Master Michael coming back temporarily this time, or? I interrupted Ava before she could finish her sentence. I'm coming back and I'm going to marry you. She choked on the orange and her face turned red from coughing. Are you serious? Ava smiled threateningly, and if the elders weren't there, she would have wanted to slap me in the face. My impression of Master Michael is that he is not someone who would accept his fate. Ava still wants to stimulate me. But now I look at her and find her interesting no matter how I look at her. She doesn't want to marry me. 2 years later, she still hasn't changed her mind. You are right, but you are beautiful and well-mannered, and your uncle and aunt are very kind to me. Isn't it right for me to marry you? I refused to follow her instructions. Ava left the living room angrily. The elders thought it was just a fight among young people, and my uncle even allowed me to go upstairs to find her. Ava's room is very princess-like, which is different from what I imagined. I thought strong women like her all wore black and white styles. She was startled when she saw me come in. Michael, are you sick? Why are you acting crazy here instead of going to see your ex-girlfriend? Michael, Ava's 2 families will definitely marry each other. Are you going to marry my nephew? He might be a little young. I smiled smirk. Ava blushed. What's wrong with being young? He will be caring. I'll wait for him to grow up. After Ava's family finished their meal, the elders actually urged the 2 of us to go out and watch a movie. If it weren't for the driver picking her up, she would have tried to escape at any moment. In the cinema, a romance movie was playing on the screen. Occasionally, there are young couples kissing. Ava was staring at the big screen, and when I tried to get some popcorn over her, she reflexively slapped me. Rogue. Do you think that because you are handsome and have a good family background, everyone should like you? With a dark face and expressionless expression, I took the popcorn and put one in my mouth. She was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Sorry. I can't hear you. Her soft voice was partly to blame, not to mention that there was a movie playing. I don't know how long she took to prepare herself mentally before she came over to apologize. But when I turned my head, the distance between us was too close. At that moment, no one dared to move. Although the next few dates were all requested by the elders, Ava no longer gave them a cold shoulder. She said maybe we could be friends. But just as I sent her home, I saw someone who shouldn't be in Ava's family, Sophia. She sat on the sofa in a cheerful mood, opposite her aunt who was about to faint from anger. Michael. This woman said she was pregnant with your child and brought a pregnancy test report. If you don't want to get along with Ava, Uncle won't force you. You are slapping our Ava family in the face. What? I looked at Sophia's guilty and evasive eyes and suddenly became angry. You're pregnant with my child? Sophia hummed and tried to come over and pull my arm. Husband. I really know I was wrong. I won't make you angry again. Although I did something wrong, can you forgive me for the sake of the child? It's pitiful that the child was born without a father. Sophia felt very aggrieved. I subconsciously looked at Ava, her face was pale and she didn't say anything. It was as if everything had nothing to do with her. But I think she was angry. How come I don't know what Sophia is planning? I never touched you. As a mother, I think you know best whether the baby in your belly is David or someone else's. Sophia, don't you understand that it's okay to stop? Do you think I, Michael, will acknowledge this child just for the sake of face? I sneered. My uncle and aunt were all shocked, including Ava. Their eyes subconsciously looked down at me. My ears were burning, but I had never done anything I hadn't done. Just because I haven't done it doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. Michael, even if you blame me for not wanting to see me, but the child has your blood, don't you acknowledge that? Sophia tugged at my sleeve, wanting me to look at her. But after just one glance, I looked away and put some distance between us. You said the child is mine. How many months old is it? It's been almost 3 months, Michael, don't you remember? She lowered her head and gently touched her belly. I took the report and looked at it, and it was exactly the same as what she said. In other words, I'd been green for a long time. I looked at her with a dark face and a gentle smile. It just so happens that the test will be done next month, so you can just rest assured and take care of your pregnancy. It's not difficult to find the father of the child. The police comrades will definitely help you. I'm not doing a paternity test, Michael, this is your child. I can give up everything, but you can't give up our child. Sophia bit her lip in humiliation, and she suddenly looked at Ava fiercely. It's you. You're the one who's been pestering Michael, right? You must have said something bad about me in front of him. Before she could pounce on Ava, I pulled her back. Sophia looked at me with tears in her eyes again. Michael, you said that the person you love most is me. At that moment, the little emotion left in my heart was gone. 2 years, more than 700 days and nights, maybe it was wrong from the beginning. It's my fault. I couldn't make her trust wholeheartedly that I could give her a future. After I apologized to my uncle and aunt, I took Sophia away. 10 million in the card can ensure that you will have no worries about food and clothing in the future. Don't go looking for David, David's family will soon be in trouble. Sophia, I really can't raise a child for someone else. If a couple breaks up in the end, it must be so embarrassing. I choose to give the other party some dignity. Sophia turned pale, she took the card and smiled bitterly. Michael, I'm not asking you to forgive me. If you were me, you would make the same choice. My mother is in poor health and needs surgery. She will also need dialysis afterwards. Money is not money at all. I hate my birth, but if it weren't for her, how could I exist? So I can't hate anyone, and I don't know your identity as the eldest son of the Michael family. After all, we are not from the same world. Sophia is gone. Later, I asked someone to transfer 10 million yuan to her, but she seemed to have disappeared out of thin air. A marriage with Ava's family is inevitable. But before I got engaged, I was already working on taking over Michael's family business. Christopher and the others asked me to go out and play, but I refused to go. I was either in meetings or studying all day. On the day of the engagement, Ava was in a bad mood, but she didn't show any displeasure. After all, a woman should always be happy on her engagement day. Ava, do you dare to gamble this time? I asked her, raising my glass. I hadn't had a good rest for a long time and was really tired. I repeatedly saw a trace of heartache on her face. But it was fleeting. When I opened my eyes and looked at her again, she only had a faint smile on her face. Why not? Tell me, what are you betting on this time? Let's gamble whether I can give you the freedom you want. Ava didn't say anything, just looked at me quietly. Finally, she drank the wine in her glass and went to entertain the guests. I knew she agreed. In fact, I was not sure either, but since she was willing to trust me again, I should first believe in myself. Most of the social events that my father should have attended were attended by me, and I was busy working during the day. Out of the 365 days in a year, I worked non-stop for more than 400 days. The extra nights are the nights I don't have rest. Michael's name finally no longer follows the Michael family. Our family's partnership with Ava's family is so prosperous that it is almost inseparable. If you want to cancel the engagement, we will. I said I would give you freedom. When this quarter's cooperation is over, the Ava family's value will continue to increase. Compared to being my wife, perhaps you are more suitable to be a leader. When I saw Ava again, I was a little dazed. Is this still that elite woman? She was wearing a little white dress, sitting on the lawn in a daze. Under the shade of the tree, I could see her expression clearly. You're right, I'm a good leader and I manage my facial expressions very well. Otherwise, how come you never realized that I like you? Ava left after saying this. For a moment, I began to question myself. No, buddy, haven't I worked so hard all this time just to give you freedom? Are you telling me now that you like me? I feel numb. No one has ever played tricks on me like this. When I went to Ava's family again, they wouldn't even open the door for me. Our lady said she's calling off the engagement, so you don't have to come to our house anymore. The concierge smiled cautiously. I honked the horn, but the lights in the room were on and there was no response. I used my mobile phone to make a call, but was blocked. I didn't see Ava first, but instead saw Sophia, who had disappeared for a long time. She was walking alone on the street, and that smile was very familiar to me. Michael? She told me that her mother couldn't make it and eventually passed away. She used my money to invest and now she is a small boss herself. Ms. Ava is right, a woman's enemy should never be a woman. So, Michael, are you with her? Women have a very accurate sixth sense. Ms. Ava must like you. Sophia is wearing a white dress. She really likes the color white. It was like something hit my brain. It seemed that Ava was also wearing white that day. Does she think that I must have Sophia in my heart? I feel an inexplicable irritation and I don't know where to start. How about I help you? Sophia asked tentatively. Need not. I have always had the final say over my feelings. What's past is past, we'll see each other again. I said this with a smile and left in a hurry. Ava still didn't want to see me, so I sent her flowers in different ways for a week. Finally the concierge told me that she was on a business trip. In order to avoid me, he actually left on a plane at 3 o'clock. Okay. My lady, it's harder to see you than to climb to the sky. When I stood in front of her, panting, I had been chasing her for a whole day and night and had managed to board the ship before it left. Ava was scared by me. How did you know I was here? We have already made it clear before. There is no need to contact each other again. If you have any work matters, you can contact my assistant. Ava continued to put on her sunglasses, lying under the parasol, holding a cocktail. Oh, how do you settle the debt of love? I was no longer in a hurry and lay down next to her. There's something wrong. Ava was so angry that she wanted to leave, but wherever she went, I would go. In order to relax, she booked a room on the cruise ship for a month, and the cruise ship would not go ashore for a month. So even if she wanted to escape, she couldn't. She can see me as soon as I wake up in the morning, and even if I go clubbing at night, I can find her in more than 20 bars. Michael, did you install a location on me? I spread my hands and said, you are wronging me. I was in a hurry to go out and didn't even bring my cell phone. Ava's face darkened. Then how did you get up here? Tell me your name. When they heard that I was your man, they let me in directly. Ava's eyes widened in disbelief. You don't care about the company anymore? Michael, do you think you are now? Before she could finish her words, I snatched it away. Do I think that now that I am not only handsome, with a good figure and a good family background, but also capable, everyone will like me? You said this a year ago, and I remember it. I chuckled and really pissed off Ava. As you like. Even the bartender couldn't stand it anymore and asked me to go and coax her. I am really wronged. It's not that I didn't coax her, it's clearly that I didn't give her a chance. I finished my drink and pulled Ava to sit on my lap. Before I could even open my mouth, I was slapped in the face. I looked at the bartender with tears in my eyes. He smiled awkwardly and gave me a helpless expression. Okay. I am not her, you see clearly. Ava stared at me as if humiliated. I held her hand seriously and let her slap me with her other hand. Can you listen to me now? Ava was stunned, just breathing heavily and not saying a word. When I made a bet with you the second time, I wasn't resisting being with you, I just thought you really didn't want to be with me, but you had no choice. Those plump breasts are about to touch the man's face. I am not that rich second-generation dude anymore, Ava. She raised her hand and placed it on my face, and I subconsciously closed my eyes again. Who knew she would burst out laughing? Really? Even the president of Ava Family Group can have a feminine side. Is that true? She seemed to regret what she said and tried to leave with a red face, but I grabbed her wrist and pulled her back. It's more real than real gold. You are so outstanding, it's my blessing that you like me. So, listen to my heartbeat. I held her hand, placed it on her left heart, and then put a ring on her middle finger. Michael, you are shameless. All's fair in war, my fiancé. Now Ava was really spoiled. From ignoring me at the beginning, we became inseparable every day afterwards. The bartender couldn't bear it any longer. He asked us in broken Chinese when we would get married since we were so in love. But the test for a couple is never marriage. It's the courage to go on hand in hand. I looked at Ava's back and my smile deepened.